Hello, my name is Fose Farhan. I'm from Media Farm and welcome back to the weekly Facebook Live. Today I'm going to be talking about how to engage with customers on mental health. We've got Mental Health Awareness Week coming up on the 18th of May till the 24th of May, and it's a really good opportunity to start talking to customers about how you can help them with their mental health and mental well-being, particularly this time when the coronavirus is on everyone's minds at the moment, and it might be creating some anxieties and worries. So what I want to talk about really is ways to engage with customers. So the first thing really is that we've got some training, so I would advise you to go and have a look at that. So we've got training as part of the Healthy Living Pharmacy series, the Healthy Living series called Mental Health. And it gives a lot of information in there about what mental health is, the sort of things that you might see in the pharmacy, and also some conversations and things like that that you can glean and use. But today I'm just going to give you a quick overview really of that, some just quick take-home messages. So with the week coming up, it's a good idea to put some of the posters and some of the leaflets out, because there's going to be a lot of noise out there from the campaign. And it'll be driving people into the pharmacy and also just getting the conversation started. I mentioned before last week when I was talking about the week that it's run by the Mental Health Foundation. So if you go to their website, they have got a lot of things and resources that you can use. They're also selling these green badges so that you can wear them, and it's really a symbol to show that you are mental health aware and you are there, allowing people almost permission to ask you about it. So it's a really good conversation starter. So in terms of how to get started, really it's about it's about making every contact count. That's a really important thing in pharmacy. MECC, M-E-C-C, making every contact count. So every time you have an opportunity to improve people's well-being through conversation, through advice, through products, for example, it's a really, really powerful way of adding value to your customers. And what you need to do really is recognise what mental health is about, what mental illnesses are. It can be as small as perhaps someone being a bit worried, a bit anxious about something, to obviously the more clinical mental health problems that you will probably be aware of through prescriptions in the pharmacy. So if we focus on the interactions that you might have in the pharmacy about general anxiety, low mood and so on, it's really recognising what those symptoms are and also being mindful of your customers. So how, particularly if they're regular customers, are they feeling as they are? Do you feel that actually they're not feeling as great at the moment, they're quiet? It's about observing and being aware of that. Pay attention to some of your regular customers who perhaps are on medication and that you do know are vulnerable to mental health issues. So again, just be there and be there as a person to talk to in a confidential and safe environment. So that's one thing, it's recognising the people as well. So as I said earlier, some people may be experiencing anxiety as a result of coronavirus. They're worried about catching it. They might be worried about their loved ones. They might be a bit getting sort of obsessed, maybe some OCD. People that have got OCD, maybe those things start getting back out into the surface. So really it's recognising that. Also a lot of older people who are your regular pharmacy customers are probably self-isolating at home. So it's a good idea just to give them a call, see how they're getting on, because it might be the only contact they've had in a while. So again, it's a really good idea to engage and just check up on them. If you're delivering medicines to them as well, you might be the only person, or the delivery driver might be the only person they've seen in a while. Again, take time to have a chat, listen to them. Also use it as an opportunity if there are any concerns, if you're concerned about them in any way. So again, it's just being mindful and being aware of your customers that might be vulnerable. The other thing really is starting conversations. So how do you start a conversation about mental health? obviously it's a bit of a subject that some people may not be comfortable about, talking about. So it's really about how you can engage them. And again, it's making eye contact, using open questions, like, as I said, particularly with your regular customers, and saying, how are you feeling? I can see you're sort of not yourself. You've got that rapport with some of your regular customers where you can talk about that, and it might not be something that we'll talk about to other people. So it's a really, really good opportunity, and you're able to back it up with advice as well. So healthcare advice for that. So listening, eye contact, open questions, mirroring. So again, if their body language, this is where communication comes in. If their body language is telling you actually things aren't quite right, again, look out for that and perhaps mirror some of that body language. So if they're talking in a low voice and they're talking slowly and quietly, mirror that rather than saying, okay, how are you, everything's all right. It's really just some tips on communication, general communication, but it's particularly pertinent with mental health. And finally, empathy. Empathy is really important, and you would use that anyway for some of the other areas in pharmacy. When you're talking to people that are perhaps not feeling well, they've been newly diagnosed or whatever. It's just being there and actually listening and being on their side, which you will have had lots of practice on, in other areas. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is brief intervention. So I mentioned about making every contact count. Brief interventions. They are, you may have used them already, you may be already familiar with them, but they are, as it says, they are brief and they are ways of engaging. And they're really opening liners, things to say to them to get them engaged. We use in our training a list of things to remember the brief intervention. So we talk about ask, advise, and assist. So if we're talking about brief interventions, so if you're going to be asking, an example would be, I haven't seen you for a while, how are you? So again, that's an open question. Another question might be you see a customer browsing the vitamins and minerals or the herbal remedies like St John's wort, and they're looking at it. Again, you can say to them, is it anything in particular you're looking at? Is there something I can help with? I noticed you picked up the St John's wort tablets there. Can I help you with that? Have you got any particular questions? The other thing is advice. So that was ask, advice. So, for example, if you sense someone's a bit stressed, they're a bit anxious, the telltale signs, they're sort of a bit jumpy, a bit sort of, hyperventilating, and you can tell the signs of stress and anxiety because we've all been through that at some stage. So if you see that, you can just obviously not be obvious about it, but just say, we've got Mental Health Awareness Week. I can see, just use a hook basically, and or if it's a regular customer, you can say, I can see you're a bit anxious at the moment. Are you okay? Again, opens up the conversation, and then you can advise them. So, for example, because of COVID, there are a lot of resources out there, not just from the Mental Health Foundation for the Awareness Week, but also from Public Health England and the equivalents in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, all about how to help people with mental well-being. And I know Public Health England, as part of their initiative called Every Mind Matters, which is part of the One You initiative for lifestyles for over 40s, they have produced 10 steps to coping with anxiety during COVID-19. So again, in terms of advice, you can say, did you know that you can pick up some really useful tips to help? And you can actually, make it personal and say, I'm finding that as well. You can pick up on a few things and say, well, actually, what I found really helpful is doing some exercise, or what I found useful is living in the moment. So that's one. Those two are two suggestions from Public Health England, out of the 10 on how people can cope. The other thing also, in terms of advising, is just say, look, it's quite normal to feel like this. So again, bring in your take on it, and also it shows empathy and it shows understanding. And finally, it's part of the brief intervention, assist. So assist. So say to them, would you like to find out about the local Mind group? Mind is a mental health charity, and they have groups throughout the UK, local groups. So it might be that they would find that useful. So again, you can assist them by giving them the details of that. You might be able to assist them by giving them a leaflet. Again, there's a lot of stuff online from the NHS, Public Health England, the Mental Health Foundation. There are leaflets that you can download and print off. So again, that's a really good way of assisting. Or actually, you can signpost them to them. So write down the web address, and there you can go and have a look and browse and pick up the information that they need. So really, these are a few things, a few ways that you can engage with customers. As I said earlier, this is a really great opportunity. It falls into the Healthy Living Pharmacy Initiative. It's all about health promotion, and it also means that the campaign that's happening on the 18th till the 24th, you can make the most of the noise that comes out of that. So it's a really good way of sort of mobilising everyone. So make the most of that. Put the leaflets out if you can. Put posters up. So there's some really good posters out for the week, which the theme this year is kindness. Again, because of the COVID outbreak, they've decided to go with that theme. So there's a lot of really colourful, quite impactful posters. You can put that out, and as I said, it makes it obvious that the pharmacy is there to help. Wear the badges if you can. Anything that shows that the pharmacy is there and is there as a team of experts that can help customers. So it's promoting your expertise. Once you've done that and you've got people coming in asking, or if people are coming in and you notice, there you have the opportunity to ask them. So brief interventions, so ask, assist, advice, and also making sure that every contact counts. That is so important. So thank you for listening. I hope you found it useful, and I will see you again next time.